order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. First item on the agenda is the meeting is the agenda approval.
I'll make a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll second.
Ted and Shar. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Any public input? All right, hearing none, on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I have one addition for the minutes. It's, if you go back to the number 8, the sheriff one, it just says carried. I think for transparency, whenever you have dissenting vote, it needs to say what it is and who was the minority vote.
I will make that correction. You're correct,
Okay.
Commissioner.
Yep.
Yep.
Anything else
I'll move with that correction.
with the correction?
I'll second.
8 seconds.
Can I
Any
just
other-
say something really
Yep.
quick? I just wanted to point out the AIS partner donations. There are some townships and lake associations that have really stepped up and really see a value in this stuff, and I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. I really appreciate their donations.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for recognizing that, Ted. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, next up, we have county employee recognition. Mike? Morning.
Good morning. For county employee recognition today, in Human Resources, we have Mary Evink. Human Resources Director began the full-time position on January 26th.
Welcome.
And in the Sheriff's Department, Yami Ogundeji, Correctional Officer, is recognized for service from April 11th, 2023 to January 27th, 2026.
Thank you, Mike. All right, natural resources, Corey.
Never usually this fast to get up here. Just one agenda item today. It's our spring land auction, tax forfeited land auction, to review approved terms, date, and appraised values on for a land auction on March 27th, 2026 at 1 o'clock here in the boardroom. There's 13 parcels that will be offered. They've all been set as non-conservation by you folks a couple months ago. Many of them are small lots that we found along lakes or within some city limits, or just non-manageable lots for timber management or recreational purposes. So we plan on trying to offer those 13. I did get the appraised values from the county assessor, like we're bound to do by Minnesota statute. If they don't sell, they'll be offered over the counter the next business day. And the next auction, we can always put them back on. We can put them at a reduced price. But for this first auction, we have to put them at that appraised value.
Corey, excuse me, I got a question as I was looking through this. So the property that's on lakes, some of it, is over 3 acres. Have you checked with Eric's office to see if those are buildable lots or if they would need a variance?
I didn't. For the most part, these are sold as is. Whoever buys them should probably do their homework before they purchase. But I believe there's a few that they could build. But I can talk to Eric's office and just reaffirm.
No, that's okay. I was just wondering. And secondly, they're open to the public. They don't have to be just the adjacent landowner.
Yep, there's one that's an adjacent landowner. just because his driveway, or his or her driveway goes through the property,
Okay.
it's along the highway too, so it makes sense for it just to be for adjacent landowners.
And then just to note that at one time you had said the county wasn't interested in selling public land that had lake property, but we have since changed kind of our philosophy. Either Corey or somebody want to address that?
So, like the small lots, to me, if they don't have an access, if they're not manageable for timber or recreational use, I believe it is better to have them in the public hands.
And it puts it back on the tax roll.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, and I think there's places where we should keep public land on public waters. But like instance, there's a 3-acre lot on Daisy Lake. We have no real use for it to manage for the public, and I think it is better off in private hands to be back on the tax roll. So.
Corey, I noticed some of these, say no road access. What would be the person's option if they were to buy it?
So it'd either have to be the adjacent landowner, or they could, the lakes do have accesses, they would be able to get to them by lake.
Also, I guess, yeah, technically they do have
Yeah,
access.
yep, that's kind of like that Boulder Lake lot. The landowners were complaining that there's no road access, but technically there is public access. You can go across the lake to get to it. But yeah, it'd just pretty much be by lake or adjacent landowner. I don't want to get into legal terms, but they could probably get go to the judge and try to get a judgment for it to get access.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep.
And just to reiterate what Ted said, that's why it's important the potential buyer needs to research before they, it's the
Yes.
buyer's responsibility.
Yes, and they're, like I said, they're sold as is, whereas where is, so, yeah, but, yeah, for the most part, if the public can't get to them, why, to me, it's better off to be back in private hands if the public can't even use them, or they're non-manageable properties, but, yeah.
I noticed that one on Deer Lake has considerable encroachment going on to it.
Yeah, the Deer Lake one, yeah, so, like I say at the auction, they are sold as is, so if someone has a dock going onto it, that's up to them to, figure out and get a survey if they really want.
But if we did have like we have some lots like on Boulder Lake, that if it's a prime real estate,
Yep,
something like that, to get the best in a bid, you don't want to have just simply as is. You want to have correct things like this.
yeah, yep, for that one, yes,
Yeah,
yep.
but this one, maybe the owner that they would have to go through their property to get to that too, they might be the only one that want to bid on it.
Yep, yeah. Yeah, and there's one on Pickerel Lake too with a dock on it, just a small little lot, so. You'd hope these adjacent landowners would consider buying it to,
No, looks like he's using about a quarter of it anyway.
yeah, yep. Yeah, and the more you look at county and state lands, the more stuff you don't wanna see, so, trying to fix it as we go.
All right, so we're looking for a motion to approve terms, date, and appraised
make the
values,
motion.
and appoint the land commissioner to hold auction on March 27, 2026, selling parcels to the highest bidder.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right, thank you. And there's about 30 of these parcels, so this is kind of just a test run with these smaller parcels, and we'll keep spreading them out and putting on the next auctions coming up. Other thing is road work and parking lot work bids are for Deep Lake Park are we've sent, or we'll be posting request for proposals here today, I believe. And sealed bids will be due February 7th for that work, for the parking lot, road work, and utility work, and alternate the picnic shelter work. So we'll be getting those bids back by February 27th, then we'll bring them to the board meeting March 3rd. So hopefully we'll get some good bids on that.
Will there be a Parks Board meeting in February?
Yes, so I'll bring that to the Parks Board meeting too.
Get it on my agenda then.
Yep.
Any activity out there that?
Yeah, I went out there and groomed the ski trails again yesterday, and see more snowshoe tracks than ski tracks, but it's good to see a use anyways. There's just some drill holes in the lake where people have been fishing, so.
Did SRF do all the preliminary work for the road?
Yes, so
Okay.
they wrote up the documents. The enterprise will have 2 notices, and yeah, they pretty much did all the preliminary work
So all
on
the
that.
design work and everything is done?
Yes, yep, sorry, yeah, yep.
What about the septic? Is that gonna be done in the future?
Septic will be part of phase 2.
Okay, all right.
Yep, and then we'll get the designer out there for that, and
Sure.
we'll, at some point in the near future, have to get a CUP for the park.
Okay.
Yep, but that's pretty much it, other than, we're hoping timber values rebound. They're kind of at a slump right now with full markets. The mills are pretty full of wood, and timber values have kind of dropped. But seems like whenever we see silver and gold prices go up, we see timber prices go down. I don't know, it's just been a historical fact.
Well, typically at this time of the year, the mills are starting to get pretty full
Yeah.
all the way up until road restriction
Yes,
time.
yep, then they kind of use it up while the
Everybody's
trucks slow
pounding to
down.
get it out.
So
But
our-
sales have been going well, though?
Yeah, all of our blown out-
Progress-wise?
Yep, our 25 blowdown sales, they all sold, and they're all pretty much cut, so, the blowdown's pretty much gotten all cleaned up.
Good.
Last auction went well. Yeah, sorry I didn't put that on here. I should have done that, but it went well. Not as high of values as we wanted to see, but everything pretty much did sell. There was one sale that didn't sell on the auction, but a logger, I believe, picked it up now after the auction. But next auction will be April 13th, I believe. So right after the land auction.
The engineer's estimate for the road and parking lot is in line with the budgetary estimates and from the grant proposal. So as long as we get bids that are consistent with the estimate, we should be in good shape on
Yep.
a month from now.
Yeah, I think we'll actually come out a little under budget if things work out good, so. All right, thank you,
Sounds
guys.
like,
Yeah.
I was listening to MRC the other day, it sounds like a lot unknown with the bonding bill. Will that affect Deep Lake Park in the next year or two? Or is that a separate pool of funds?
It could affect whether or not that pool, how large that pool of funds are that are available. I think as I mentioned before, like the Itasca spur, the Heartland Trail, is a project that the state has been funding in pieces. And they apply and once you kind of get a project that's approved, the grant is gonna be awarded at some point, it's just a matter of when. So the road and the parking area is finishing up, is finishing up the vast majority of the first grant award that we received. And then the scope of work we authorized for SRF to continue, in the last few weeks will get us to the point of scoping phase 2, coming up with a budget for phase 2, and then applying for, the phase 2 grant. But we have no idea whether there will be funding for it or whether it would be awarded the first year. But if it isn't, we'll just basically adjust and resubmit that. So campgrounds, trail development, septic systems, the trailhead building are all probably priority items to be determined by the Parks Committee for moving forward into phase two.
Yeah. Sounds like the board of the grant committee, is pretty excited to keep working with the park, so, yeah, I think we'll have a pretty bright future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
The amount of money that's available may inform how big of a bite to try to take in phase two.
Yeah.
If there's not a lot of money available, we may be applying for $1 million again. If there's more money available, we may try to take a bigger bite and apply for 1.5 or 2. Stuart was gonna go to a grant. They have roll-up meetings for the grants, and I think that was last week that he was going to attend that, so he will have more information the next time we talk to him, which I think is Thursday this week. We meet with him every other week, just to keep in touch and roll through this, but hopefully we get some good local bids on doing the dirt work and the driveway work on this, and can get it done this summer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Corey.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good day.
So human resources, I imagine Michael's not gonna be
Mike
here 'cause
is-
he went over this.
Mike is out sick, so this was carried over from December, and basically it's just to approve the continuing contract and to appoint the representatives for the county. And Mike attended the last meeting with Commissioner Van Kempen. I think they already planned on having him as a part of that, so we just need to approve that's gonna be the case. So, the vote would be the motion would be to approve, the joint powers agreement and reassign Commissioner Van Kempen, and then assign Michael Edminster as our representatives to that board.
And I think, of course, Mike would be replacing Brian. I know when Brian was the representative there, it's hard to sometimes make the meetings, up in Bemidji sometimes. At times, we've even done them in Bagley. So now all of a sudden you're driving from Park Rapids for a 2-3 hour meeting, and it's a couple hours driving and stuff like that. So I understood Brian not being able to show up for some meetings. I'm hoping Mike can. In January, we normally have our North Country Community Health Board meetings via Zoom, because we never know what the weather's gonna be like. And so everybody, you always seem to get a good turnout, but as you all know, I don't like Zoom that much, but there's a purpose, there's a need for it, so. But yeah, I would definitely support Mike in this endeavor. I don't know, since it's also involving me, if I should be making the motion.
I guess I had one question reading through the agreement. I know some committees have, so to say, term limits, and I didn't see anything in there. So is it, like, for you being on that committee, is it perpetual? As long as you're willing to serve, that you can serve as long as you are a commissioner? Or has that ever been brought up?
I guess it's never been brought up. I know a lot of my committees are the same way. They don't have term limits but in a sense, it does, because my term ends in 2026, I think, or something.
Yeah, but you can be reappointed.
Yeah.
But like, I think was it Prime West, I think you can only be appointed 2 or 3 times.
No,
Okay.
that's only
And
the
then-
executive board.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise,
So
you
that-
can serve as long as you're
Yeah,
there.
okay.
So the
That's 'cause-
section 2 does not identify that there's a limit to the number of terms.
Yeah, I'm the alternate, so,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but.
I thought maybe
I
you
just
wanted
thought-
my position.
No, no. I don't need to drive to Bemidji that often.
Well, I'll make the motion to approve. I don't have any conflict here.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, on the administrator.
I have several, housekeeping updates and can answer some questions, but the one item that I have available is for North Memorial to give their fourth quarter ambulance report for you now, so I think
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think you're familiar with Scott and Mike, but Scott is the district chief for this area, and Mike is the captain or the supervisor for this area. And we'll give the 2025 year-end report. As far as staffing goes, that hasn't changed since the last time that we met. We still have, there's one crew that's on for 24 hours and another crew that's on from 1 p.m. until 1 a.m. In terms of the volumes for 2025, we transported 1,666 patients, and in 2024, we transported 1,589 patients. So we were a little bit busier than we were in 2024. In terms of our staffing, or I shouldn't say staffing, but in terms of the number of times that we have a paramedic on a crew versus 2 EMTs working together, that's remained real consistent throughout the whole year. So it ended up at 82% of the time we have at least one paramedic on the crew, and the other times there's 2 EMTs working together. As far as response times are concerned, for the fourth quarter, we got there in less than 10 minutes, 57% of the time, less than 20 minutes, 86% of the time, and less than 30 minutes, 94% of the time. And keep in mind, this includes the entire service area, all of the rural areas outside of Park Rapids. And these response times are actually still pretty good, considering it's a winter period too. So, yeah.
Do you ever try to respond to somebody and can't get through the road because it's either not plowed or it's too narrow, or?
Yeah, we run into that in all of our rural areas. Sometimes there's somebody that can help us plow the road. In some of the jurisdictions, like in Brainerd, the fire department has a rescue truck with a plow that they'll come out and help us with. I'll have to defer to Mike, but I know in all of our areas, the first responders, a lot of them have UTVs. So sometimes the ambulance has to stay on the main road, and they'll take a tracked vehicle or a UTV up to the house. Do you have something to add on that, Mike?
Yeah, that's correct. I think most of the first responder units have snowmobiles or some kind of all-terrain vehicle or four-wheel drive vehicles that can help. They also have trucks with plows that they've utilized before to help plow the road to get us through.
So yeah, it is something that we encounter from time to time. As far as the patient satisfaction scores are concerned, we ended up the year with a 94% out of 100%. Our own system-wide goal is 89.7, which obviously we exceeded. We didn't have any comments from the fourth quarter, and here in 2026, we're changing the company that does our patient satisfaction scores. We're changing that to a different company called EMS Survey, because we've had struggles getting the information that we want out of the current vendor that we've been using. So we're switching to a company that's named EMS Survey. The other nice thing about EMS Survey is that we can compare ourselves to other ambulance services throughout the country that use that same survey. So we can compare ourselves to other ambulance services in Minnesota and then across the country as well in each of the categories that they measure. Scott's kind of been in charge of that project. Anything else to add on that?
Not currently. It's always a struggle with technology and things to get those survey points back, but we do get a lot of positive surveys back. Plus, we also get anecdotal. We get comments from various patients and customers that we've transported. We received quite a few of those lately as well. And some of our other partnerships with CHI here have gotten some recognition about how we handle our trauma and our stroke awareness. So there's a lot of positive activities going on around out in the community, and being recognized in that.
Okay. far as community, speaking of community involvement, we continue to work with high schools on the first responder program. Mike is very active with that. And we collaborate with the hospital and our public safety partners on a regular basis. We have a real good relationship with the hospital. Mike meets with them, I think, is it weekly?
Every week, yep.
And during the fourth quarter, Mike has also been involved with that community review panel for the US Highway 71 corridor study, so he's been attending those meetings as well.
Is there anything significant there that you're seeing is popping up as key items?
I think the last meeting, there was some concern, or I brought up some concerns with some local intersections, you know, for 71, that could be improved maybe next time, such as like, it's Main Avenue North and then 71. You know, that intersection is at an angle. So there's been some accidents there, people pulling out because they can't turn their head far enough to see, you know, what's coming. So that's one that's been put on, I guess, for possible improvement. So they make it so it, you know, the angle is a lot better, hopefully.
Speaking of that too, County Road 20 and 34. I mean, this has been like 3 or 4 major accidents there in the last year or two,
Yeah.
and deaths.
I know there's gonna be the same committee's gonna start meeting soon for that improvement project too. I think they held it off to complete the 71 or work more on the 71 project, but I'm slated to be on that committee also.
Yeah, that one's bad.
That and County Road like 34 and County Road 4, that's,
Yeah.
could use some improvement too, I think. There's been some accidents, good accidents there.
Yeah, I don't know what's causing it on, you know, even east of the intersection up on the flats, there seems to be accidents there too, and I'm not sure what's causing that. You know, sun or something maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
But it's a bad spot. They come barreling over the hill when I'm turning in my driveway. I'm constantly watching my rearview mirror, and a lot of times I hit the gas because they're not slowing down.
Mhm. That was one of the last accidents on Highway 34 and County Road 20. There was somebody didn't see someone stop the turn there and
Yeah.
rear-ended them. Fortunately, that turned out where nobody got hurt, but yeah, it's a bad spot.
I know this varies because, you know, it's figured on percentage of value, but can you give me just an idea of what the property owner is paying for this taxing district? Maybe Jeff? I'm just curious.
I can get you an update, or I can ask Josh to provide it at the next meeting, and
Okay.
then one of the members can bring that back to you. But it's actually less than we had discussed early last year when we were approving this.
Just as a rough estimate, it's less than $50.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that. Did you have something to add, or?
No, I
wasn't trying to
don't.
put you on the
I was
spot.
going to, no, I was gonna say, I honestly don't know off the top of my head, but as Jeff mentioned, we can get that to you.
I might even be able to get it quickly here.
As far as back to the calls and whatnot, when you have a paramedic on staff, how many calls are there that are paramedic necessary?
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, I'm
that's a
just kind of
good-
curious.
that's a
2
good
EMTs can do a
question.
lot.
Yeah.
But a paramedic, you know, is a step up, but how many times is that necessary?
Yeah,
So what percentage of the transports require a paramedic?
Yep.
And what percentage don't?
yeah.
You know, I'm just kind of.
And I'll give you our best guess, I've talked to some of the other larger services in the state that are in the same situation we are, where they have 2 EMTs working together sometimes, and they have ALS other times. First of all, keep in mind that only 10% of the calls that we go on are truly a life-threatening problem. And of those, we guesstimate it's probably about 3% that would require a paramedic.
Okay, all right, thank you.
There is a lot in Minnesota that EMTs can do above and beyond they can be variants to do skills above and beyond the basic EMT class.
Okay.
And the thing that really saves people is the ability to get CPR going right away, get patients defibrillated right away, get bleeding stopped right away, and those things are all basic skills.
The rate for the ambulance district was 1.81%, which is $18 per 100,000.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, committee reports. Who wants to start?
Well, I can, because I was gone.
Have a good day, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I have to get mine up here.
Well, you're bringing yours up. I'll get mine out of the way then, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
Heritage, CMS overall star is 5, health inspection was 5, again, quality measure was 3, staffing is 4, and again, still waiting on that Minnesota nursing home report card to change, it's still sitting at 2. Hired 5, terminated 5, of 2 open FTEs. We're in really good shape now with our RNs. We ended up with the 2 traveling, or not traveling, but the 2 from the Philippines are on staff now, and stuff, so we're in, first time in a long time, pretty good shape with RNs. And let's see. Cash flow wise. Before that, actually, occupancy wise, the manor's at basically currently 24 out of 26. Cottages are 15 out of 18. And the census at Heritage Living Center was 39, but I know there was a couple coming in, so that'll be up around 40 to 42 is our target. And again, on cash flow wise, Heritage Manor had a positive cash flow of 22,604. The cottages had a cash flow of 46,184. Heritage Living Center had a positive cash flow of $20. So the total combined is 68,767. Our target all the time is kind of about 80 to 90. If we can get there, then we'll cover our debt. So the 2 previous months were 85 and 96, so far it's still going pretty good. I think that's all I had.
Do you want to talk about MRC?
Yeah, a little bit. So they did have Mary Franzen on. She's the chair of the bonding committee, and she didn't seem too optimistic about much happening. There's just no money, and they're trying to figure this out. And one of the things she was working on was trying to figure out new revenue sources, because as they talked during the bonding committee and the things that were presented over the year, she says the infrastructure, especially in rural small cities and townships that don't have large tax capacity, she says it's falling apart. They don't have the ability to repair it because they don't have the tax capacity. And without those major bonding bills to help them fix infrastructure, she says it's kind of scary. She basically said, if you saw everything that's where, she says, it's scary. We're falling so far behind. And they really are trying to wrestle with how to figure that out. One of her ideas was to put a 10-cent tax basically on plastic bottles. 2-part measure, mostly to generate revenue, and second, to maybe spurn some discussion of, how to keep it out of the waste stream too. But she wasn't sure exactly how much revenue that would generate. She threw around AI, said maybe 200 million. So that's a far cry from what's needed.
Yeah, and she also said that Michigan had implemented this already, but there were people that weren't real optimistic about that either.
Yeah, Merlin from Wadena said it was, because he was involved in Michigan for a while, and he said it was a disaster there. Didn't do what it was supposed to. Now, he didn't expand on why or anything, but they're trying to be creative and come up with ways to generate some revenue. And what the answer is gonna be, because that's gonna be a problem for a while, is revenue. And they do expect even though it's not a budget year, it's a bonding year, but they do expect that possibly the governor would come with a supplemental budget with some cuts to try and get ahead of the problem that's coming down the pipe. All right, whatever else you got.
Well, I just brought up, and, there wasn't, it was just a comment I made that people tend to think when they drink bottled water, it's healthier, but if you drink bottled water that's labeled spring water, it's coming out of a tap from somewhere, which is probably equal to what you have at home to drink, and so part of the plastic
Well, you
bottle
get all
stuff is
Microplastics and PFAS,
I
just drink
know.
it out of your well,
is education, or,
probably better.
yeah, anyway,
And if those bottles are sitting out in the sun,
Yes.
that's releasing PFAS.
yes, they are.
And you don't know if they have been.
Mhm.
And we're wearing clothes that have that in, I mean, it's just everywhere now, but
Yeah.
it was a pretty short meeting, actually.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I can go, we had Mojave listed out their annual report. They served 17,500 families in the last year. 123 for Head Start and 108 for early Head Start, and those are basically the same, except their income level about the scholarships that they receive. And in the Head Start program, out of 123, 90 had father involvement, and 108 out of early Head Start had 83 father involvement. So about a fourth to a third needed father involvement, but I was actually thrilled that the numbers were that high. And then their CLIMB program, which is the 5-year of helping families get out of poverty and learn healthy new behaviors, have 92 individuals enrolled, so that's really positive. We also had a discussion, as several of the communities represented in Mojave have either illegals working or have people with green cards that are too scared to go to work. And so we had a discussion on how involved, how to get individuals involved to help these people through their fear, or needed things such as groceries or medical. It was an interesting discussion, and it really highlighted that there are people working illegally in Minnesota that are fulfilling a needed role, that need a pathway somehow to be able to stay here long-term. So without getting political in wherever we stand, that is something that bears discussion. And politically, the legislature, at the federal level needs to address something, because there are positions that will be open that no one will fill. So,
I think kind of at the federal level, what you're just discussing, I think it's an inefficient system.
yes,
And
I would
it
agree.
needs to be streamlined, and verification processes need to be faster. But, we don't have any control over that.
Right, and so our discussion was, if there's people in those communities that we know personally that are either too fearful to go to work, or somebody cited people they knew that had green cards, and then because an industry had closed down or laid off, technically they're unemployed, so technically they're here illegally. What's our responsibility at a personal level?
Seems to
So-
me that the Fed should create a program that allows for fast tracking if they have no criminal background and they're working. And that should pass down through the states, and the counties would probably have to be the ones running the program. Would seem to make sense, but I don't know, we all know why it doesn't happen, because the further you go up the chain, the more the power of politics plays into it. They'd rather have the issue than fix the problem sometimes.
I appreciate Liz, the executive director, is very good about trying to stimulate conversation about what's going on in our communities, so I was very appreciative of her effort for that. And that's all I have.
It doesn't seem that it would be that hard to fix, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
I think when you have people coming into the country from obviously other countries, how do you vet them? How do you know they are not criminals because the country they're coming from may not have those kinds of records? How do you verify this person is who they say they are? You know, there's a lot of issues there. But then I think there has to be something to, I don't know how you do it either, because once they are in our country and they're going to become citizens, say, how do you keep track of them in case they are bad actors?
Yeah, you'd probably have to have a probationary period as part of the program where
Something
they
like
have to,
that.
you know, as long as they don't commit a crime and they're working, for
No.
whatever period of time that is, you know. that would be-
One of the board members, my hubby, has been very involved in Long Prairie and talked about what an asset that community has become to the workforce. They own businesses in town and the track record is good, and so I don't know how you put all this together,
Yeah,
but it needs to be changed.
I saw a figure, just a couple days ago on the news that 58% of illegals are not working. They're living off the system.
And then there's the other 42% that are
Yeah.
possibly filling jobs and working hard that we might not have people to work,
So,
willing to work.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's complex.
oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep.
give me some time and a few $1 million, I'll figure it out.
Well, government works slowly. That's one of the frustrating things. And we're usually reactive, not proactive.
I hate to.
Problem
wanna be
is it'll
political,
probably
but
be
it
more
starts
than
with
a couple
enforcing the
million.
law. And then, you know, if you wanna change it the proper way.
Yeah, change the law, we don't, yeah, we gotta have a country of laws.
We're
law
in
and
this
order.
problem because we didn't enforce the law.
Am I next?
Yep.
Okay, I had one meeting just before I had to go to New Mexico, and that was, the Kitchigami Regional Library. We had a personnel committee meeting, and it was to, talk about the results of the findings that, a lady named Dr. Susan Harrod went in and we contracted her to do a workplace assessment. So we got her findings for that. Maybe just one thing I could say was that take some of the workload off of the director, the executive director was, you know, even though they only have around 36 employees, they need to have someone running the HR portion of it because, you know, Melissa does all of it, everything. So we can maybe part-time HR director or something like that, but that's one of her recommendations. And then I wanted to be able to go to the SWCD meeting last Tuesday, but I missed it because of being stuck in New Mexico for an extra day due to weather. But one of the things on the agenda was Crystal Mathisrud is resigning, and that's effective February 11th. She's going to go to work for the state of Minnesota, so they'll have,
That's a loss.
Yeah.
yeah, they'll have an opening for that.
She's done very well for
Yeah,
Hubbard
she
County.
has.
Yep.
Yeah. I was surprised about that, but, yeah, they're gonna have a going away party at Good Life Cafe on the 11th, yeah. And that's all I got.
11th of February or March?
February, yeah.
Right around the corner. Alrighty, and I had a couple of them, North Country Community Health Board. We talked a little bit earlier about, we did that via Zoom. They re-elected, well, of course, first meeting of the year, we do the chairman, vice chair, stuff like that. They re-elected the chairperson from last year, heck of a nice guy, hard worker. Oh yeah, that's me. Let's see, so we get to go through the formalities there. Our vice chair, Tom Mayo, had resigned, and we're seeing that a lot. Of course, now with a lot of the committees and stuff, we have older generations that are, said this is enough. And so I'm hoping to find younger people I think that really is a need. Also, we had the board resolution to appoint a board's agent, which is Marissa Heatman from Clearwater County. Let's see, went over the meeting dates and the legal newspapers, that kind of stuff. Did the bylaws, changing the bylaws. Most of it was clerical stuff, grammar and whatnot. And then, of course, it always seems to be the safe sick time and family leave stuff that has to be added on. Went through our audit, everything went good, but we have the same as a lot of the audits where they talk about not having enough staff to separate some of the duties. We even had that here in Hubbard County at one time. And let's see, went through the final expenditures for 2025. Let's see, family home visits, I did 26 total, and in the North Country, which would be Clearwater, Hubbard, and Lake of the Woods counties. There's 26 families that we serve, 12 of them in Hubbard County. Let's see. Had 14 people do the family survey. I think if there's anything else here that jumps out. I think that's really about it. We meet quarterly. And everything, like I said, pretty much is going smoothly there. Next one I had was Northwest Minnesota Juvenile Center. There again, election of officers. I was reelected vice chair. And Neil Peterson was reelected as chairman. Jim Schmidt, or Jim as secretary. Let's see. Of course, we have to do a beginning of the year conflict of interest paperwork again. Went through the meeting schedules, okayed the bills, talked about the projects at the center that need to be done, the capital improvements, stuff like that, whether we have the money for it or not. We do for most of it, and of course, it's an ongoing thing. Numbers are down. It is that time of the year, I guess, was told that when Christmas comes, a lot of times courts and that will let the residents go to their families, and then sometimes they don't come back or slow to come back, stuff like that. So our numbers are down at the center, probably about half of what they normally would be. So that's kind of a concern, but of course we change things accordingly. Didn't have some part-time staff work and stuff like that. Went through the attendance records. And the only reason why I'm bringing this out is that they made me chocolate chip cookies because I had 100% in-person attendance this year. So, and is.
That would work for me.
Yeah.
Is that gift below the value that you can accept?
And Steve can vouch that Erica
Yeah.
is a good cook there.
Yep. Marvelous, marvelous stuff.
So I appreciated that. I was kind of wondering, the meeting before, people were talking about their favorite cookies and that. So then, of course, I was asked, and I'm thinking that was a ploy to find out what my favorite cookies were. Let's see, and I really think that was about it. Normal business, nothing jumped out. There again, we had a lot of storm damage there, and we put a pause on that through the winter. And when springtime comes, we have more little projects, well, maybe not little projects, pulling some more stumps, doing some more seeding. Most of the buildings have been already repaired. And otherwise, everything I think is going pretty good. That's it.
Any meetings to note?
I think we've discussed and got registration for the legislative conference coming up in 4 weeks from this week. I think I made the registrations, when I made the registrations, they put everything under my name. And I think I need to parse it out with the hotel so that when you go to check in, that there won't be any issues with that, but I'll double check on that today.
Is it you two going?
Yes.
You're not going, right? Ted's not going? Okay.
There's one other meeting I got, it was an invite to me, I did this last year, a pipeline training, up in Bemidji. The meeting will be March 3rd at 6 o'clock at the Sanford Center. I'm not sure if it's same as the program I did last year. It looks like it's gonna be a couple hours long. I really enjoyed it, because we have pipeline coming through Hubbard County. And to know the steps that are supposed to be going through. So we had this last spring. It helped me too when the storm came, because I already knew some of this stuff, what was gonna be happening. But I just wanted to bring it out there March 2nd, and I'll probably bring it up again at our I believe we have maybe even have a meeting that day, March 3rd. Otherwise, I'm done.
All right, that's it, I guess. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Tom, what time was that?